What's up, guys and gals? It's your hostess with the mostest, Griever, as always, bringing you guys a chapter review for chapter 46 of Shuumatsu no Valkyrie, also known as Record of Ragnarok. Now, you guys are wondering, I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking you want Pop-Tarts, and I agree. We should all go get some Pop-Tarts first. But then, once you get your Pop-Tarts, you come back to this video, and we're going to talk about as to why, if I already did a live reaction, a live stream to this chapter, why am I doing a review? I know bigger channels can do this and get away with it because they get a lot more revenue. They get a lot more, stuff. But for smaller channels like me, it's either a review or a reaction. You sort of pick between the two. And mostly, for the most part, I tend to do the live reactions. They garner more views, people enjoy them more, and I like talking to you guys. So, but why am I doing this review? Well, I just wanted to clear up a few things, just a couple of things from the, cover a few things up from the live stream. There was a few things after watching Miss Content's review, reading his comment section, checking the Discord, reading my own comment section, and stuff like that. And I wanted to clear up a few things. Number one is my rating on the chapter. My rating on the chapter still remains a solid 7 out of 10. I still stick to that. My reasoning, not the best in the stream. And I did want to address that right away as well, is the fact that some of you definitely came into the stream once the chapter dropped. A lot of you didn't wait around and hear the first 40 minutes of the stream or so, when I discussed the fact that I was very tired, I was betting on getting a second wind, I had been drinking all day in the sun, and I had actually planned to basically go to bed right before the chapter had been said, hey, the chapter's probably coming out in a couple hours. You should do a stream. And I was like, yeah, okay. So that's basically what happened. And apparently that was a bad idea because I was very short. I was a little bitchy. I was simply overtired, guys. I really was. I was betting on getting a second win. I grabbed a few more beer, thought, hey, I'll jump into my second win like I always do. No problem. I'm a night owl. I'm used to it. But I had had a long day, working in the yard and stuff. So that was all said at sort of the beginning of the stream and not so much during the chapter and when a lot of people had jumped in. So a lot of people couldn't understand my shortness. And I just wanted to clear that up. Maybe it wasn't the best time to do a stream. No, I gambled on getting my second win and my hype back. Didn't really happen. That's my bad. So apologize if anybody was upset, insulted, offended, etc. from that. All right. So, but that does not change my opinion on the chapter. I reread the chapter today, and 7 out of 10 is still a solid rating. Some people seem to think that 7 out of 10 is a bad rating. No, 7 is a solid rating. It's just that I didn't find some of the things that people thought were really cool was like Buddha's 8th consciousness, or Zerofuku being bitch slapped pretty much by Buddha. And another big thing was the reveal that Jesus Christ is finally in the series. Well, I'm going to go through each of these points right quick. Number one, we already knew that Buddha was going to pull something out. I really doubted that this was going to go as long and drawn out as round 5 with Raiden and Shiva not really showcasing anything, just fisticuffs for a long time. It's Buddha and Zerofuku. They were going to show, there's so much potential for Zerofuku. There's a lot of potential for Buddha. The special abilities were going to be shown to us. We knew they had special abilities, and they were just showcased. And once we learned what they were, it fell into place. It made sense. It wasn't like a huge 180 flip. So I was like, yeah, this is really cool, but it's still they fight. They're just showing off their abilities, I guess I just wasn't as hyped to see it as a lot of other people. And maybe the fact that eye powers seem to be such a thing in manga these days that every single time somebody brings up an eye power, it's just like, okay, so it's eye powers. Gotcha. Not that I really enjoyed Buddha's ability and stuff, but I mean, we got the axe, we got the 8th consciousness, they fight, future sight versus axe versus misery. Okay, so yes, it was enjoyable. Yes, it was well drawn, but it boils down to they fight, and nothing major was done. Now, had Buddha been put on his knees or something, had the last panel of the chapter had Buddha getting socked in the face clean or something, breaking the future sight, something like that, that would have been like, okay, this is getting interesting. But from the get-go, we already assumed, before the fight even began, we already knew that Buddha was going to kick ass. He's been kicking ass, and this has been nothing but a one-sided fight, hyping up Zerofuku, who's getting a lot of disrespect in the community and the chapters and in the fight, and Zerofuku's being just trying and failing. And it's basically going exactly how we've all been predicting for months. Literal months. Since Buddha was revealed to be fighting on the other side, we all thought that Buddha was going to kick ass, and this might be the first one-sided fight. It's going the way everybody predicted, and to me, that's, once again, doesn't necessarily take away a point, but certainly doesn't add one. So I still want to stick to my 7 out of 10 as a result. Still a good chapter. 7 out of 10 is a fair rating. And once again, the Zerofuku stuff, I find Zerofuku one of the most sympathetic, empathetic, and interesting backstory level characters in this series. And a lot of people are shitting on him because of his very creepy, very design right now, and all the spit and vomit and all the the creepy golem things that he's doing. And yeah, I find that creepy, but he's that. I mean, look in the mirror. Remember how Zerofuku is made. The reason he's so grotesque and creepy because he's taking on humanity's misery. That's a manifestation of you and me and all of our woes and all of our misery. So, that's just always up here with me. That's always in the back of my head, that no matter how grotesque and creepy and disgusting he appears to be, that's not him. That's a manifestation of humanity within him. So I take a good close look in the mirror, or in this case the camera, and I can't fault the guy. So I'm on that side of the fence. A lot of the community is not, and I understand, but that's why, once again, not really caring for everybody just shitting on Zerofuku too much. So it sort of brings down the chapter a little bit for me. And the fact that he couldn't get a fair shot in on Buddha yet. And the third point, Jesus Christ showing up. Well, ever since round 2, with Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, Beelzebub's on the list, the serpent, the backstory, the apple, I sort of assumed Jesus was around. We were just sort of waiting for him to show up, and he did. And that's cool. And if you guys were watching the stream, you know I was extremely hyped to see him in the stream. I was very hyped. I was like, we got Jesus Christ here. Awesome. Cool. He looks traditional. He doesn't say very much. He's one of the 4 sages alongside Socrates and Buddha and stuff. That's really cool. It's a perfect placement for him. I really like it. I like that he was here. So, but whereas a lot of people, I guess, were shocked, like, oh, it's Jesus. It's like, I sort of expected him to show up eventually. He showed up. I was hyped. It's cool. But it wasn't unexpected. So once again, all right, cool. Socrates is there too, eh? I'm pretty stoked that Socrates is there. I'm a fan of Socrates. I like him. So I was like, yeah, Socrates too. Yay, But once again, that doesn't take the chapter up marginal points for me. So either way, I think my rating's fair. 7 out of 10, still stick to it. If you guys think, though, you guys think it's a 9 out of 10, if you guys think it's a 10 out of 10, that's your opinion. You go right ahead. My opinion is 7 out of 10. Everybody can respect everybody's opinion. It's fine. Once again, I was short on stream, and I apologize for that if I said anything negative towards anybody specifically, but I don't remember doing that. But if I did, I did check through the stream, and I don't think I directly said, you're an idiot or anything like that. But no, I definitely did say I don't see how anybody could rate it so high, comparing it to other chapters of Ragnarok, etc., etc. So, but just wanted to clear that up. I still stick to my rating. Number 2 is something that Joseph brought up, who's in my comment section, who was in the stream. And I just wanted to make this perfectly clear, and I should make this more clear at the beginning of most streams, is that when I talk about a character within Record of Ragnarok, and this is something that can happen, it rarely happens in reviewers and manga and stuff, because nobody takes it this far. But with Record of Ragnarok literally being gladiator fights of both real world religions, mythologies, and actual historical figures, it can definitely come across when somebody insults, in my case, or complains about a character within the confines. It's very easy for it to come across as I'm actually attacking the real world version. That is not the case. I want to clear that up right now. And if I insulted anybody in the last stream or any previous streams or reviews, like the ones with Shiva and stuff, where I insulted Shiva, I was never talking about the real world Shiva. I never meant to insult or offend anybody following Hinduism. In the same way with Buddha, if I say, well, Buddha's being a dick or something like that, I'm clearly not referring to the real world Buddha. I am referring to, of course, the one within the confines of Record of Ragnarok, the manga. And in the final way, Jesus Christ. Same deal. When I'm talking on a stream referring to Record of Ragnarok, I, of course, am not meaning the human inspiration, the religious leader of most of the known world. Well, he's one of the biggest religious leaders of all time, Jesus Christ himself. I'm clearly not talking about the biblical version of Jesus. I am only talking about the one within the confines of the story. So I definitely wanted to clear that up. So for future streams, I'll try to remember to begin every stream by making that very clear. But in case I don't, I'm making it here again, just because Joseph brought up in a very calm, collected way. He goes, I don't think you meant to insult anybody's religion or anybody's faith or beliefs. And he did bring this up in the comment section the following day, and I appreciate that, Joseph. Thank you for that. But he did say, like that was a little touchy, man. Like, maybe, were you tired? Were you sick? Were you pissed off at something else? And, so we had a conversation. It's all good now, but I wanted to bring it up here in this review because something that he mentioned, I had to look through the stream to find, because I remember being hyped about Jesus, and apparently I said that Jesus was really boring. Like, Jesus would be way too boring. And I was like, okay, I don't remember saying that. So I went through the stream, finally found the point that was talked about. And what had happened was somebody mentioned, I believe it was Caden, it might have been Dragon's Rage, not sure, but somebody said Jesus should replace Rasputin or Tesla on humanity's list. The reason I said that Jesus would be really boring in that he'd be a really boring character is because we actually got the reveal in this chapter. In this chapter, we see one of the best things about Record of Ragnarok is the fact that we get a very poetic license heavy. We get a hugely 180 adaptation of all these historical figures, all these mythological, all these gods, etc., etc. We get something that we really don't expect. We get Buddha is nothing. This adaptation is very different from what I think everybody expects Buddha to truly be like. Same with Jack the Ripper's backstory, or Zeus's adaptation here. A lot of them are not very much like their traditional counterparts of real-world text, real-world fiction, real-world reality, or in religions in that case, right? I'm pretty sure Shiva does not act like Shiva in this, so that being said, when I referred to him as being boring, I meant the fact that by the looks, because we got the reveal here in this chapter, we see that this interpretation of Jesus Christ seems to not be one of the more heavily poetic licensed characters, and he seems to pretty much, from our very brief appearance of him, he looks like the traditional Jesus. He seems to have the, a ranking among the four sages, etc., etc. He seems to very melancholy and stuff. He seems to be pretty much a carbon copy of the biblical Jesus that we are all familiar with, at least in most of the Western world, etc., etc. Don't want to assume anything, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the known world knows about Jesus Christ and his story. So that being said, that's what I referred to, and this was my own fault because I didn't elaborate on this. I just simply stated Jesus was a really boring character, and that would be a bad idea to swap him out. The reason I say this is because looking at the traditional Jesus there, yeah, that's really cool to see him, but Rasputin and Tesla, and especially most of humanity, has had such a unique adaptation on their historical figures. Rasputin is one of the characters I'm looking forward to the most, along with Tesla and King Leonidas, because this author, this mangaka, does things with these characters that completely 180 us, that completely surprise us every time we finally get the reveal. They're much different than what we're led to believe by a Wikipedia search or a book reading. There always seems to be very unique and very different. Their interpretation is always what sets them apart and what makes this manga really special, especially when we get the backstories. The reason Jesus would be so boring is because, by the looks of it, we already know the story. That is literally my reasoning when I referred to him as boring. Rasputin has so much potential. Tesla has so much potential. Now, don't get me wrong. Jesus could have crazy good potential. But by the looks of it, because we got the reveal in the chapter, I would argue that if we were to get the Jesus backstory in Record of Ragnarok, I don't think it would deviate very far from the biblical story. Do you guys? And if that's the case, then why am I reading that backstory? Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad story. Don't get me wrong. The history of Jesus and what he went through and everything, that's not uninteresting, but I've heard it. I've heard it my whole life. I already know the story. I'm pretty sure when we get the reveal of Beelzebub, he's not going to have the classic devil story. There's going to be a lot more to it. Buddha's backstory seems to be a little different. Zerofuku's, whoa, Jax, Heracles, everybody seems to have some major twist in their story. Shiva's story, everybody, every god and human so far in around has seemed to have a much more original backstory than we're led to believe historically or traditionally. And by the looks of this interpretation of Jesus, it's not very original, and that's not a bad thing, but it would make for a very uninteresting number of chapters to just rehash the story of the story of Jesus Christ. That's not to say the story of Jesus Christ is boring. It's saying that I already know it. Sort of like if I already know who wins round 7, reading round 7 is going to be a bit boring. Wouldn't you agree? If I was already spoiled and I knew who won round 7 and 8, do I really care? I mean, it's going to be cool to see, but my enthusiasm, my interest is going to be definitely diluted heavily by already knowing the story, already knowing the outcome of the round. So one of the most interesting things about Record of Ragnarok is that uniqueness to it. So when I just wanted to clear that up really quickly there. But yeah, so other than that, the chapter, so I hope nobody was elsewise offended by that. And if you were, I do apologize for that. And I'll try to be better about that in the future. But once again, only referring to the confines of the narrative within the confines of this manga. Not talking about the Bible, not talking about the real world applications whatsoever. Just wanted to make that clear. The other thing I wanted to talk about is something I saw on Miss Content's review. In reference to the fact that Jesus, this might not be the Son of God Jesus, but the man. Simply the religious leader, the man. And might have no actual connection as the Son of God. I didn't really take it that way. I took this more as he's still the Son of God, but this is his earthly form, right? Like how, because remember, they're sort of all one thing. That's the idea anyway. So I still take it like, because yes, he's on humanity's side, and yes, but this is the interpretation of Jesus Christ when he did walk the earth. And he was, a magnificent, wonderful man, but nonetheless just a man at the time. How would they ever, nail him to the cross if he was all powerful and stuff? How would they ever even make him bleed? Why would he need to eat? Why would he need to grow? Why would he need to sleep? So when Jesus walked the earth, he was, for all intents and purposes, a man. And that interpretation we're getting here is still the religious leader of Christianity, Jesus Christ. Now, is he still... Miss brought this up, and I am a little confused on that because it's possible that he's not wrong. That maybe in this telling, Jesus is not the Son of God. I find that hard to believe. I still believe that this is simply the Jesus that walked the earth, and we might eventually see the Christian God later on in the series, but he's still the Son of God, but this is when Jesus walked the earth. And, that's why he's on the humanity side. That's why he's in the crowd, etc. Because this is during that time, not when he was part of God or in heaven or whatever. This is when he was part of earth. So that's the way I took it. Curious to see what you guys say about that down below. And the last thing to talk about, I guess, is the fact that, once again, Zerofuku's Misery Axe, it was pretty cool, but, it clearly did nothing against Buddha. Buddha, of course, using the eighth consciousness, which is, of course, connected to Buddhism and stuff. I forget how to say the real name. It's got a lot of A's in it. But anyways, I won't even try to say that word, and it's really long. But he basically has the eighth consciousness, and he's got a form of future sight. So we have another eye ability. Eyes of the Lord was one, now we have the eighth consciousness. He can basically see the moves before they happen. So he's got observation hockey, right? He's got observation hockey. But that's pretty cool. It fits within the confines. And from a comment I also got, somebody either replied or mentioned it to me that this actually fits into Buddha's story, which once again I'm not too familiar with Buddha's backstory or traditionally. So apparently he also called when he was going to die. You know, he knew how and when he was going to die and stuff, so he already had that sort of future sight in the tellings of the real Buddha. So this really does fit in to, once again, another little snippet, a callback to Buddhism traditionally in our world. So I always like when they try to interpret little nuances, little facts. They either expand on them or they shorten them or they do whatever they want with them. So that's really interesting. And now we're seeing that he has some pretty cool abilities. It looks like, I doubt we're going to see all the consciousnesses or all the wheels or all the stuff, because with his prayer wheel staff, because we didn't really get to see all the abilities of who else was there? We didn't get to see all the labors of Herc. We didn't get to see all the the sumo moves of Raiden. So probably not going to see all the moves of Zerofuku or Buddha respectively, but it is pretty cool to see that he's still got these abilities. Where they're going to take it from here and how Zerofuku's ever going to get a one-up on this guy, I really have no idea, and it's going to be really interesting though. I think Chapter 47 is finally going to showcase Zerofuku actually managed to get through the future sight, get through an attack, something like that. It's going to be interesting to see how he pulls that off. But yeah, so anyways, guys, just wanted to make that review, clear up any misgivings or any misunderstandings or anything like that, or anybody who felt that I was not being fair or whatever to the chapter, to real world religions. Once again, that's not what I'm ever talking about on stream. And etc. etc. So I hope you guys enjoyed the chapter. I hope you enjoyed the review. I still, once again, 7 out of 10. It was solid. It's a good chapter. I'm looking more forward to chapter 47 myself. But 46 was fine. 46 was a pretty good chapter. So, and definitely go check out, not that he needs my help, but go check out Miss Content's review, because he had definitely some interesting things to say about it. And yeah, I guess we will see you guys back here next time. Chapter 47 stream, whenever that's going to, I guess, it's a monthly series, so I guess we'll see you next month. And hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe as always, and we will see you guys back here next time. Peace out.